in our kind of relationship, and I think in many relationships, which is anger and what to do about it. And the best advice I've heard is to try to see it as a train coming in our direction. So if we can spot the train coming, we may be able, first of all, not to stay in the train's way, to jump to the side. We may be able to maybe avoid as much damage as possible. We may be able to realize, oops, we have already jumped on the train of anger. But it's dangerous to stay on this train. It's dangerous for our health. It's dangerous for our relationship. And we'd better jump off as soon as possible in a safe manner so that we don't jump too late when the train has gathered too much speed. So I thought, well, that's great in theory, but how do we do it? And I so happened to be watching a video from a Buddhist monk, and he was talking about the different stages of anger. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. And he was also saying, well, when you find yourself at this stage, then do this. And if you realize you're here, then do that. I said, oh, this is very useful. But the point I liked even better is that he says, even if you blow out in anger, there's still things you can do at that stage to repair the damage as soon as possible and even afterwards. So those stages are included at the end. Now, it's very useful to know that it's not an easy automatic process. We watch the video once and it happens overnight. At least that's not my experience or the experience of anybody I've heard. But it's good to have some more tools in order to say, oh, I was there, I could have done this. So the more aware we become of this, in time, we may be able to jump off the anger train sooner. Or maybe to repair the damage even faster. So I'll stop chatting and I'll tell you what this is about. So I'm going to be given some examples here and there, but I don't want the video to become too long because I think that the descriptive names for the stages are quite good and clear. So we're going to talk about the stages of anger and how to achieve more peace at each stage. So the first one is expectation. It all starts with something not going according to what we expected. We expected our husband or partner to come at the time they said they would be around, and they don't turn up. So something starts brewing inside us because of that clash between reality and the expectation, or maybe just the expectation for the relationship overall is not being met by reality. So what do we do? The best thing to do here is to let go of our attachment to particular outcomes and embrace uncertainty, understand that life is so complex and human beings are not black or white. We have so many facets that everything is uncertain. So our expectations need to be fluid in a way. But maybe this is not enough. So we get to the second stage where we find something we don't really like in the situation. Say this person has not arrived in time. We're resisting the fact that they're not here when they said they would. And this creates some tension. So what to do when we find ourselves in resistance to what is? Well, we should let go of the way things should be in our minds and embrace what is. Well, this is a person who has problems with timing. Maybe there's a lot of traffic. Maybe this person has bumped into somebody else along the way and they started chatting, or somebody needed help. Um, let's extend some grace and see that, well, life is unpredictable. So let's embrace the situation as it is as much as we can. At this stage, we still have quite a bit of control, but then we may develop some aversion to parts of a situation because we find it truly unpalatable. We don't want to get anywhere near that. So what we need to do is to let go of the unpleasant situation, which may be inside us or outside, and own the present moment. What is going on right now? Well, the sun is still shining, or my pet loves me. So try to detach a little bit from the cause of all these negative, unpleasant, I would say, feelings. The next step, if we don't jump off the wagon at the stage, is dissatisfaction. We really don't want this way. So the solution is to let go of comparisons with the way things should be, the way things are in other relationships, and discover a new possibility. In our case, well, what can I do with my time rather than waiting here and giving myself an ulcer because I'm angry because of this late arrival of my partner? If we don't stop there, we will end up insisting. We will kind of obsess with what is going on and insist that things should not be that way. So the solution for this is to let go of our obsession and accept that reality is perfect as it is, even if we don't like it right now. There may be a good reason behind things going this way. And many times in retrospect, at least in my life, I found that horrible things happened. But then years later, I say, oh, well, that was really, really horrible at that time. But I can see how it fits in with what came afterwards. There was a learning there for me, and it all kind of works out in the end if we don't insist. So if we don't stop here, we start feeling frustrated. And what to do in this case is to just let go of our pride, stop insisting that this is the only way forward. Being punctual is the way to go for everybody. And maybe that's not the case. Maybe that's what we think, but maybe for somebody else, flowing in their own time may be perfectly the best way to go about life, because otherwise they would get too anxious or something. So the solution here is to let go of our pride and create another plan. Now, if we don't stop here, we will feel some irritation, annoyance, whatever you want to call it at this stage. And it would be very good for us to let go of the object of our annoyance. In this example, it would be our partner or spouse, which is the trigger of whatever we're feeling. At least that's what we think. Maybe something has upset our stomach, but we don't know. So we are feeling this annoyance now bubbling up, or starting to bubble up. It's like the magma bubbling. So it's good to watch it. And we may use a visualization like this of the magma kind of bubbling up. And the volcano has not erupted yet, but it's close to it. So there's some smoke coming up. So we'd better watch rather than watching what, say, our partner is doing or not doing, watching the energy of annoyance, how it is in our body, how it's increasing, or whether it's static somewhere in the body, or whether it's moving around. So paying more attention to the energy of annoyance, not so much the story, not so much the trigger, but the energy. And if we don't come off the anger train at that, say, station, at that stage, we may find ourselves feeling really angry. And this is a point where we need to let go of anger in a somatic way, the anger in our body. So if we are feeling tense muscles, well, try to relax. If we are feeling we are closing down, well, try to find a more open posture and a posture that allows us to breathe a bit better. And of course, breathe, because when we are really angry, we don't even breathe. And we become really economical with our resources because we want all the energy to be there for a fight. So try to do the opposite in your body, to relax the muscles, to open your stance, to maybe even adopt a power stance if you can, if you know that one. But as long as you open yourself rather than constrain. And this is the moment where we may not jump off the train. We've been through different stages, but maybe we got here too soon and we didn't know we were here. We've kind of landed here because we were not aware. But once we're here, we may explode. So this would be similar to a volcano eruption at this stage. And we may be shouting, screaming, kicking around, a bit of a meltdown for ourselves. And that's the energy that wants to come out somehow is too big in our body. So it may so happen that we lose it. There's still something we can do. And that is working during a cooling down period, because we don't go from the full meltdown stage, say, to, okay, everything is fine. All right. Yeah, I understand. I got the point. We can't go from, say, 1,000 degrees centigrade to 0 in a second. That's not the way the body works. So we need a cooling down period. And during this period, what we could do is to try to let go of what has happened. Don't increase the problem by blaming yourself. Oh, I even shouted at him. I shouldn't have done that. Blah, 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 blah. So let go of everything that has happened and try to introduce a better inner experience. Try to introduce some space, even if you have a picture of the seaside, of, I don't know, a nice field, some mountains, a lake, whatever you need to do. Just move around in a way that allows your body more space, bring about more peace in your body and your mind somehow. If you have a pet, that's a quick and easy way of doing it. Maybe bring to mind acts of generosity when that other person did something really generous and they didn't even claim credit for it. Feel the love of some other people, your pet, whatever, and have a bit of patience for everybody involved. as well as finding your compassionate self and exercise compassion towards the other person, towards yourself. And as I say, don't even make it worse by feeling that you're not good because of what has happened and blaming yourself. So you know, or you will find out in time, which is the best experience you want to feel at each time after something so dramatic as that has happened in your life. Of course, you can apply this cooling down period after a meltdown from somebody else, just letting go of what has happened and introducing another feeling you want to be feeling at that stage. This is also helpful. But as I say, it's a step by step process, and most of the times we'll get here very fast and we won't know we're here. But it's good to persevere and to start finding some results and noticing things earlier. And I understand it that sometimes at meetings we talk about things like forgiveness or gratitude. So those are things that have their place in all these steps. But of course, when somebody's furious, they can't just cool down by introducing, say, gratitude or generosity. It's not the right time. The nervous system cannot do it. So we need to be a bit more skillful and use the right tools at the right time. So I do hope somebody finds this useful. It may not be useful for everybody, and that's fine. But if somebody finds it useful, then here it is.